Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. So let's continue from where we have stopped in the previous classes. Okay. So, like, I think we were now discussing about load balancer. So let's recap where we have stopped for a few minutes. So let's understand the load balancer concept and let's see the practicals of load balancer. So what is load balancer in AWS cloud? So this load balancer is mainly for accepting the incoming traffic from the clients and routes the request to the EC2 instances. As I told you, even we have taken one example to understand the load balancer. So let us take some example to understand what is load balancer. Consider we have a virtual machine, we have a server, and this server is able to handle some requests. This server is able to handle some 100 requests. So if more than 100 requests, if this particular server gets more than 100 requests, maybe this server cannot able to handle, and the server may get crash. If it gets more than 100 requests, the server may get crash. So we used to do is we used to set up one more server further. We used to set up one more further. If we are getting more load, we'll be setting one more server, and we will be sending more. We will be sending the traffic. We'll be sending some of the traffic to this another server which we configured. So here we need to understand, when we are maintaining more than one server, like multiple servers, definitely we should have a load balancer. If there is no load balancer, okay, otherwise we can understand like this. What we will do is we will take one load balancer and we will attach this load balancer to the EC2 machines. We will configure the load balancer and attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer, so that what happens, the incoming traffic will first reaches to the load balancer, and now the load balancer will decides and sends the traffic to the EC2 machines. And what is running here in the EC2 machines? An application is running. Consider our application is running in the EC2 machine. You might consider like some Facebook application or whatever it is. Same application. Here also it is running Facebook application. Here also we have Facebook application. So when we are trying to access that application, usually what happens, when the users try to access the application from the browser, the requests will reaches to the load balancer first. The load balancer will divert. This is the load balancer. Okay, this is the load balancer. So load balancer will diverts the traffic. This load balancer will divert the traffic to the EC2 machines. Load balancer accepts the incoming traffic. Try to understand what is load balancer. Load balancer accepts the incoming traffic. It is accepting the incoming traffic and forwards the traffic or diverts the traffic, routes the traffic to the EC2 instances. These are the EC2 instances. This is one. This is instance one. And you can consider that this is instance two. This is how the load balancer will route the traffic. There is one more task that can be done by the load balancer. Load balancer will also monitor the EC2. Load balancer will also continuously monitor the instances or the servers. For what purpose? Load balancer will continuously monitor these servers because if any of the server is unhealthy, load balancer will not send the traffic to the instances. If suppose load balancer comes to know that any of the server is unhealthy, any of the server is not good, any of the server cannot able to handle the traffic, then the load balancer itself will not route the traffic. When load balancer will send the traffic, send the request to the servers, only if the machines are healthy. If the servers are healthy, then only the load balancer will send the traffic to the instances. If the server is any of the server is unhealthy, load balancer will not send any traffic. Load balancer will not divert any traffic. Hope you got it. So how the load balancer knows whether the server is healthy or not? As I told you, load balancer will send a ping request to the servers. Will send a ping request to the server. And it has to get the response. It has to get the response from the server. If it got the response from the server, then load balancer treats that the server is healthy. Load balancer treats that the server is healthy, right? If it is not getting response, even after sending the ping request, if it is not getting the response, usually load balancer treats the machine is unhealthy and it won't send any traffic to the instances. So let's see the practicals of this one. So what I'm going to do is I'll log in to my AWS cloud. I log into my AWS cloud. I'm just signing into the console. So I'm going to a service called EC2. I'm just selecting the service called EC2. I have some servers running here. Let me delete all these servers. I don't want all these servers. I'm going to delete all these things. I'm just deleting all these servers. So I'm going to launch a server. I'm going to launch a server. I'm naming the server as server one, the very first server. Okay. I'm going to launch. Actually, we will take two servers and we will attach the two servers to the load balancer. Let's see how we are going to launch one server. I'm going to launch one server, server one. I'm just taking Amazon Linux. And let's take T2.medium. Why? Because maybe the configuration, it might require, okay. That's the reason why it might require some higher configuration. That's the reason why I'm taking T2.medium here. You all know T2.medium will be having two CPUs. We'll get two CPUs and 4 GB RAM if it is T2.medium. And then I'm going for a key pair. I'm using the same key pair which is existing. And the only thing is like we need to worry about the security group here. Okay, we need to worry about the security group here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to create a new security group. Okay, I'm going to create a new security group. And you see here, usually whenever we create a server, we are not touching this network settings. Okay, we are not going for the network settings. Why? Because we need to understand the VPC concept. Once we understood the VPC concept, we'll understand what is VPC subnet, all these things. The very next topic that we will be discussing is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So that time you will understand all these things. What is VPC, what is subnet, all these things. For now, what I am doing is, here we have two options. Either we can create security group. You know what is security group? In AWS, security groups are mainly for dealing with the firewall rules. You know, security group is nothing but what? You can see here. Security group is nothing but a set of firewall rules that control the traffic. This is what the security group is. Security group is nothing but a set of firewall rules. We need to open some firewall rules. If we are installing some applications, we need to, and if we want to access those applications, definitely we need to enable some firewall rules. Even I have shown you how to enable the firewall rules and all. If not, I will show you now how to enable the firewall rules and all. So we need to enable the firewall rules of the instance, which is called a security group. Security group deals with some set of firewall rules. So it is up to us whether we can create a new security group or otherwise we can go for selecting a existing security group. I'm not going for the existing one. We have many things here. We have many security. We have many launch wizards, you can see. I'm just going to create a new one. I'm creating a new security group. Coming down. And I am going to advanced details. Please go to the advanced details here. After select here, usually by default, it will be new security group only, create security group only. We are not making any changes. Okay. I'm just showing you that either you can create a new security group, otherwise you can select the existing security group also from here. But for now, we are creating the new security group only. And we need to understand what is the security group that is being created. We need to find out the name. I'll show you later how to find out the name. So here I'm creating a new security group, right? With what name the security group is getting created? Can you see? So if I select this create security group, we are going to create a new security group with a name called Launch Wizard 21. This is the name of the security group. Remember this. The name of the security group for this server is Launch Wizard 21. Okay. Coming down, I'm going for this advanced details. Advanced details, and under advanced details, as I shown you, we'll be having a user data optional. Here we can provide the script, whatever the script that we would like to provide, we can provide the script. I have shown you like this is the script which is used for installing HTTP package. If you remember, you can try to understand what is happening here in the script. This is nothing but a this is a script which is mainly for installing install HTTPD. We are installing HTTPD package. And if you install HTTPD, this will be the directory structure usually we'll be having. And we are navigating to this directory structure. CD stands for change directory. We are going inside where www HTML inside this directory structure. And I'm going to add this content, my Google One contents to the index.html page. You might get a doubt where this index.html page. Basically, whenever you install HTTPD package, you'll be having index.html page by default. So I'm going to save this content into the index.html page. Okay. So this is the command we are using to start the HTTPD service. And if you don't know what is HTTPD, okay. So let me show you like what is HTTPD. You know, it is a program. HTTPD is a program that acts as a server in a client server model. So we are going to install one package. What is this? We are going to install a package called HTTPD. This HTTPD, what is this HTTPD? It is a software program which acts as a server in the client server model. So slowly we'll understand what is the use of this HTTPD, why I am installing this one. And usually it is called as a server. HTTPD is called as a server. So we can launch a small websites. Okay, we can launch a small websites with the help of this HTTPD package. Okay, you will understand slowly. It is a kind of HTTP server. Okay, then I'm going to paste the entire script over here. Whatever the script that I have, I'll be pasting all the script. Make sure that we are taking t2.medium server because t2.micro is not working sometimes. It is not able to process all these things. So that's the reason why I'm installing this. I'm adding the script here and I'm taking t2.medium instance. If you remember, I have taken t2.medium instance. Going down and I'm going to create an instance. Before I create an instance, I'm again showing you the security group that I am creating is new one. Usually we create a new security group every time, but the name of the security group for this server is Launch Wizard 21. Okay. Why? Because we are going to use the same security group after some time. Okay. I'm going to launch an instance. The script that I have added during or while creation of the instance. When I have added the script, I am adding the script during the server creation. So whenever I launch the instance, during that time itself, I am providing the script. If you provide the script in the same way, usually we will call it as bootstrap script. When we run the script during the launch of the instance itself, when you provide the script during the launch of the instance itself, usually it is called as bootstrap script. That is the meaning of bootstrap script. You know the meaning of bootstraps? When you launch an instance, we'll be having an option of passing user data to the instance, which is used to perform some task, which is used to perform some common configuration. Otherwise, you can understand like which is used to perform some task. So while launching the instance, if we are providing some script, where we are providing the script, we have an option for you passing user data. There we are passing the script. So that usually it is called as bootstrap script. Okay. So try to understand, like we have one instance running. We don't have any other instances. I have deleted all of them. We have only one instance, which is server one. And I have installed HTTPD package. And now it is a server. Okay, we can call it as HTTP server. We can call it as, I can rename it as HTTP server 1. Okay, this is HTTP server 1. So some website is running here. If I'm calling this as HTTP server 1, some website is running here. What is the website? How to access that website? Go to the public IP of this one. Go to the public IP of this, and you can access the website with the help of public IP. What is public IP? You know, each and whenever you launch a server, each and every server will have public IP as well as private IP. Copy the public IP, can paste it in the browser so that we will be able to see the website. But now we are not seeing anything here. The reason is we need to enable the firewall rules. To enable the firewall rules, we'll go to that server. Please go to security. Under security, we have security groups. Just go to the security groups. Under security groups, we have inbound rules. Please go to inbound rules, edit the inbound rules. We need to open a port called 80. We need to open a port called 80. See? So anywhere IPv4, I am saving the route. Okay, I've just opened the port called 80. So let's see if we are able to access this or not. Okay, so we did try this earlier also. Second. I'm going to the security groups, inbound rules, editing the security groups. Otherwise, let me add all traffic for now. Anywhere IPv4. I'm saving it. I'm just reloading it. So we should access the page the same way only we used to access the page. But even I have opened the port numbers. Let me check why it is not able to, why we are not able to access it. Security groups, inbound rules. We need to open we need to open the ports. So for now, actually, I'm opening all the traffic, meaning I'm just opening all the ports also. And I'm opening anywhere IPv4, all the traffic I'm opening. I'm saving the rule. Am I accessing with the correct IP address? Let me go to the EC2, instances running. This is a server which I have. I'm going to the server, copy the public IP. I'm pasting it. Yes. I'm able to see the page like my Google one. Can you see here? What is the script I have provided? I have provided that script called my Google one. So on the first page, on the home page, whenever I try to access the HTTP server, you see here, I'm able to access the page called my Google one page. Why? Because this is the content I have saved to the index.html. Whenever I access the server, I'm able to see the page called my Google one. Can you able to see? This is the page I'm getting. Even if I share this IP address to you in the browser, you can also see the same. Okay. So just now you saw right how we are able to access the page. I'm copying the public IP address and I'm pasting it in the browser. Usually we should able to see the page. This is how actually we used to get the page. Suppose if you are able to access the page, let me install one more. Let me set up one more server. This is one server I have, HTTP server one. I am going to launch one more server with the same configuration. With the same configuration, I am giving the name of the server as HTTP server 2. I'm taking the server. I'm taking one more server which is called HTTP server 2, and I'm taking Amazon Linux. Instance type is t2.medium. I'm taking the same configuration t2.medium. Going for the key pair. What is the key pair I'm using is same key pair. Network settings. You can see here for the firewall rules, I don't need to open the I don't need to create one more security group. I can apply the existing security group. I'm going to select the existing security group. What is my security group? If you remember, my security group I have used is Launch Wizard 21, I think, right? Launch Wizard 21, which is the one using for my previous server. Okay. I'm using the same security group. If I apply the same security group, what does it mean? If I apply the same security group, if I select the same security group, whatever the firewalls that I have opened for the server one, the same firewalls will be opened for this server also. That is the meaning. We can create a new security group. Otherwise, we can select the existing security group. If I am selecting the existing security group, it doesn't mean that whatever the firewalls opened on this name of security group, you remember what are the firewalls that have opened. SSH is opened and all traffic is opened. So I'm selecting the same security group. I'm going down and I'm going for advanced details. And I will be giving the same script. Okay. I'll be using the same script, whatever the script that I have used for server one. The same script I use, but with a small change. The same script I'm using, instead of my Google one, I will give my Google 2 to see the difference. Whether I am accessing from server 1 or server 2, whether I'm getting the page from server 1 or server 2, to see the difference, I'm giving my Google 2 here. Just coming down and launching an instance. So it will take some time. We have passed the script as bootstrap script. Even we can run the commands even after launching the instance also. We can run the commands even after launching the instance also, but we are providing the script during the launch of the instance itself. That will be called as bootstrap script. We have HTTP2 server, which is up and running stage. And even we can also access this page. We can also access this server by using the public IP of this one. This is the public IP of server 2. I'm going to the browser and trying to access the same server 2 page. We need to wait for some time because, okay, let's wait for some time so that we'll try to access we'll be accessing the page. You can see now, I'm able to access my Google one from the server one. At the same time, we'll also access my Google 2 from the server 2. Why? Because the same security groups only we have added. If you have any doubts on the security group, go to the EC2, go to the instances, go to the select server one, and you can verify here what is the security group that we have. Launch Wizard 21 is the security group. And for for the another instance also, we have used the same security group. HTTP server 2, security. What is the security group that we have used? Launch Wizard 21 only. So same security group we used. So there is no issue with the firewalls. We should access the page. We should access the page. Let's wait for a few more seconds. This one, this is the server 2, and let's see the security groups. We have opened all the firewall groups. Can you see here? This is the firewalls, SSH anywhere, all traffic anywhere. These are the firewall rules we have opened. So actually, we should be able to access the page. Go to EC2 instances. We are going to HTTP server. This is the public IP of the server. I am trying to access the public IP. I'm trying to access with the help of public IP. Yes, I'm able to access my Google 2. Can you see here? This is my Google 1. This is the public IP of my Google, first server. Okay. 3.91 is the IP address of the first server. 44.211 is the IP address, public IP of the second server. So I'm able to access my Google 1 page from the first server. I'm able to access my Google 2 page from the second server. Even I can give you the IP address in the chart. Okay. Even I can give you the IP address in the chart. You can also access. You can just give this IP address in the browser so that you can also see the page. Please confirm if you're able to access my Google 1, my Google 2 pages or not. I've just pasted the URL in the chart. Please verify and let me know if you are able to access both the pages, my Google 1 page and my Google 2 pages or not. For the first server, you can see my Google 1. For the second one, you can able to see my Google 2. This is how actually we see. Okay. Is it okay? Are you able to see the page?
Yes, Vamsh.
Yeah. So you understood, right? We have taken two servers, and from the first server, the page is this one. I'm able to see the page, my Google 1. The second server, I'm able to take the page of my Google 2. Okay. I'm closing this. What I'm doing is now I'm going to take the load balancer. I'm going to configure a load balancer. So what I'm doing is I'm searching here in the services. In the services, I'm going for load balancer. The services, I'm going for a load balancer. So there are two features. Okay. Usually there are load balancer comes under two categories. Load balancer under EC2 feature, load balancers under light sail. So for now, we are now discussing about load balancer under EC2. Okay, why? Because our target is EC2. Okay, we are installing my packages. We are installing my server is on the EC2 service. I'm using EC2 machine as a server. That's why I'm going for load balancer EC2 feature. I'm going to load balancer. Please select the load balancer. If you are not able to access it, if you are not able to search, even you can find the load balancer here in the same page. Can you see? I'm able to select load balancer. This is under EC2 only, you'll get load balancer. Okay. Create a load balancer. Okay. Under EC2 dashboard itself, if you go to the EC2 dashboard, left navigation, you can see load balancing. Go to the load balancer, create a load balancer. We have different types of load balancer. Okay. We have application load balancer, network load balancer, gateway load balancer, and we have other category of load balancer is classic load balancer. So I have an application running in the EC2 network. Okay, let's see the practicals. Let's see the practicals with any of the load balancer. I'm just going with the classic load balancer for now. So let's understand the differences between all the load balancers. Okay, let's understand the differences between all the load balancer. So you can understand if you are aware of layer 7, if you are aware of layer 7 and layer 4, usually we can use load balancer based on the requirement, we have. So application load balancer, can you see here? Application load balancer. If your traffic is HTTP or HTTPS, if your traffic is HTTPS, you can see here. Choose a load balancer, choose the application load balancer. Okay. If your applications are accessible with HTTP and HTTPS traffic. And you see, if your application is depending on some network, okay. So if you want some high performance, usually we will go for network load balancer. Try to understand. If your application is a very simple application with HTTP and HTTPS traffic, usually we'll go for application load balancer. And if your application requires high performance, we'll go for this network load balancer. Okay. And there is another load balancer which is called gateway load balancer. We will understand this. Okay, we'll understand this gateway load balancer later. But for now, Try to understand the difference between application load balancer and network load balancer. If your application is very simple, accepting HTTP and HTTPS traffic, please go for application load balancer. And if your application is require more performance, if our application requires high performance, then usually you can go with the network load balancer. High performance in the sense like most of the people are accessing, heavy load will be there for your application. Most of the people will be accessing your application. That time you can go for network load balancer. When you need ultra high performance, please go for the network load balancer. Okay, anyhow, we will also understand these things in detail, but for now, I have already an application running in the EC2 machines. I can go with any of this load balancer. I can use any of the load balancer. First, let's understand the basic idea of load balancer, and then we will understand all the categories, various categories. Okay. For now, I'm going with the classic load balancer. I'm creating a classic load balancer. I'm just creating a classic load balancer. I'm giving the name of the load balancer as my load balancer. I'm just giving the name of the load balancer as I'm just giving the name of the load balancer as sorry. So I'm just giving the name of the load balancer as my load balancer. Okay. I'm giving the name of the load balancer as my load balancer. It is up to us. We can provide any name. I'm going with here. There are two types of options. One is internet facing and internal load balancer. Okay. So internet facing means usually with the help of internet. Internal means within the organization using private IP addresses. Suppose if you want to provide access to the public, if your application is accessible by the public over internet, if your application is accessible by the public over internet, we will go for internet facing. And if your application requires, if your application gets the request only from the clients to the targets using private IP addresses within the organization. Okay, if your application is being used within the organization only by using the internal clients, then definitely we'll go for internal. For now, this is an example which we can see, which we are enabling for internet facing. Okay, this is an internet facing load balancer. We are routing where everyone can able to access. Everyone can able to access the application over the internet. Okay, I'm just selecting internet facing and VPC and all. Anyhow, we did not understood. We have not started it about VPC. We'll start about VPC. Then you'll understand what is the purpose of VPC. For now, it is selecting. It is asking to select availability zones. Usually, we can select any of the availability zones. If you want your application to be available in one availability zone or two availability zone, you can select. For now, I am selecting all the availability zones. In US East 1B, okay, I am in the region. Okay, I am creating this infrastructure in N Virginia. What is the region code of N Virginia? US East 1. And here we have totally 6 availability zones, I think. You can see US East 1A, East 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F. Okay. So totally there are 6 US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. There are totally 6 region availability zones. You know what is availability zone? Under region, we will be having availability zones. I'm selecting all the availability zones. It is not mandatory to select, not mandatory to select all the availability zones, but we are not sure where I created my machines. Okay, not sure where I have created, in which region, in which availability zone the machine instance is created. Suppose if we understood the concept of VPC, then we will be very clear in which region, in which availability zone we are creating our machines, all those things we will understand. For now, I am selecting, okay, for this demo purpose, I am selecting all the availability zones. Security group is very much important. Why? Because for this load balancer also, we need to enable the same firewalls. For this load balancer also, we need to enable the same. I don't want default. I'm going for 21 launch visa 21, which is enabled for those servers. I'm giving the same launch visa 21 for this load balancer also. I need to open the same security group, same firewalls for this load balancer also. I'm selecting launch visa 21. Okay. And the next one is, it is asking, what is your protocol, HTTP or HTTPS? I'm just giving HTTP for now. HTTP for now. I'm giving HTTP for now. Even I just sent you the chart. With the help of this protocol only, we are accessing our application HTTP only. If you want to keep HTTPS, yes, we can keep HTTPS also. For now, I'm keeping HTTP. Okay. So what can we do is we can add the listener. Okay, we can add the listener. This is HTTP. We can keep HTTPS. HTTP is 80. HTTPS is 443. Okay, this is how we can add the listeners. For now, I'm keeping only HTTP 80. This is a very important concept that we need to understand. Health checks. As I told you, load balancer is mainly for load balancer will mainly do the two things, two tasks. Load balancer will send the ping request, right? For each and every instance, for every server, load balancer will send a request, will send a ping request. What is the need? Why load balancer will send a ping request to the server? As I told you, because load balancer needs to monitor whether the servers are healthy or not. Load balancer needs to monitor whether the server is healthy or not. If the server is not healthy, load balancer will not send any traffic to that particular server. Okay. So your load balancer will automatically perform health checks to test the availability of all the registered instances. And the traffic is only routed to the healthy instance. Traffic is only routed to the healthy instance only. Load balancer will automatically perform the health checks and the traffic is only routed to the healthy instances. If the machine is unhealthy, it won't send any traffic. Okay. And you can see here the health check being sent, the health check ping is sent using the protocol. By using this ping protocol, you see what is ping protocol? You understood, right? What is this ping protocol? This listener is different. Listener is different. Okay, listener is mainly for what? This listener will determine how the load balancer routes the traffic, routes the request to its registered targets. If there is an incoming traffic, the load balancer will routes the traffic to the targets based on this protocol, HTTP protocol. And what about health checks? Here, this is different. Usually, load balancer will send the ping request to the machines. There also, it is using a protocol called HTTP. That's the reason why we are using this ping protocol here. HTTP is the ping protocol. And we should also understand advanced health check settings. We should also understand health check settings also. Try to understand what are these advanced health check settings. Response timeout. Response timeout. What is this response timeout? Time to wait for EC2 instance to respond to the health checks. Time to wait for the EC2 instances to respond to the health check. Suppose if the load balancer is sending a ping request, we'll go back to the diagram. Okay, we'll go back to the diagram. If a load balancer is sending a ping request to the EC2 machine, there should be some certain time interval where the instance should respond to the load balancer. What is the time? The time is within 2 seconds. Here it is 2 seconds. You can configure between 2 to 60 seconds. We can configure between 2 to 60 seconds. When a load balancer is sending a request to the EC2 instance, EC2 instance must respond within these 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 6 seconds, whatever you keep here. But you need to keep only between 2 to 60 seconds. You cannot keep more than 60 seconds. 2 to 60 seconds is the interval that you have to give. It should be less than the health check interval. It should be less than the health check interval. I'll tell you what is health check interval, but you should provide only 2 to 60 seconds here. You understood, right? What is response timeout? Response. Load balancer is sending request. EC2 instance must send response. You know the ping request, right? If load balancer is sending a ping request, EC2 instance must send the response, ping response, must send the response to the load balancer. In what time it has to send a response? If I keep 2 seconds, yes. EC2 instance must respond within the 2 seconds. If EC2 instance is not responding within the 2 seconds, okay? If EC2 instance is not responding within 2 seconds, usually load balancer will treat the EC2 machine as unhealthy. Okay? So that is response timeout. What about interval? Interval, amount of time between health checks. What is the time gap? Time gap between one health check and other health check. The time gap between one health check and other health check. Suppose if an EC2 instance is sending a request, ping request, you see here, we have a load balancer and we have some two instances, okay? One EC2 instance 1 and EC2 instance 2. Load balancer will always send ping request to the EC2 instance. EC2 instance must respond to the ping request sent by the load balancer. Load balancer will always send ping request to the EC2. EC2 instance must respond to the ping request to the load balancer. That is called response time. So in what time it should respond? Within 2 seconds, it has to respond. Within 2 seconds. You can increase this to 4 also. You can increase this to 5 also. But you need to give this time between only 2 to 60 seconds. You cannot go beyond 60 seconds. Then the next one, interval. What is this? Amount of time between the health checks sent to the EC2 instances. Suppose, for example, consider EC2 load balancer is continuously sending the ping request. One ping request got the one ping request is sent and EC2 instance got the response. Load balancer got the response. Everything is fine. Again, in what time? Again, it will send the, I told you, right? Load balancer will continuously send. What is the time gap? What is the time gap? For every 5 seconds. Here, if it is 5, if I'm keeping 5, for every 5 seconds, load balancer will send the ping request to the EC2 instance. If it sends one ping request now, after 5 seconds, again the second ping request will be sent. After 5 seconds of second ping request, again the third ping request will be sent. Like that, the time gap between one ping request, one ping and another ping request will be 5 seconds for now. But we can increase this to 5 to 300 seconds. If we don't want to check this very frequently, we can make it as 10 so that load balancer will send the ping request for every 10 seconds. Will send the ping request for every 10 seconds. And it has to send the response. EC2 instance will send the response within 2 seconds. Immediately it has to respond. Within 2 seconds, it has to respond. That is called response timeout. If it is not responding, within 2 seconds, that will be called as response timeout. The time interval for one ping request to another ping request is 5 seconds. Here I'm keeping, but we can give up to 5 to 300 seconds. Here also we can give up to 2 to 60 seconds. We are giving all the minimum only. Okay, 2, 5, 1. And we need to understand what is healthy threshold and unhealthy threshold. Okay, we need to understand what is healthy threshold and unhealthy threshold. Just because of sending, just because, see, one time, you see, a load balancer is sending a ping request, okay, for the first time. And load balancer did not get any response for the ping request. Just because it did not get response for one ping request, it should not say that machine is unhealthy. Okay, load balancer has sent a ping request. It did not get response. Because of some reason, it did not get response. Just because of not getting response for one ping request, it should not treat the machine as unhealthy. Load balancer should not treat the machine as unhealthy. How many times? The number of consecutive health check failures. The number of consecutive health check failures. If it fails 2 times, even after sending 2 ping requests, it is not getting any responses. For the ping request, load balancer did not get any response. It will send the second ping request. Even after the second ping request also, it is not getting any response. Two checks are failed. 2 health checks got failed. Okay. So the number of consecutive health check failures are 2, then it will decide or declare the EC2 machine as unhealthy. Okay, 2 times consecutive health check failures. If the consecutive means continuous health check failures. 2 times if it gets failed, then only it will treat the EC2 machine as unhealthy. And healthy threshold. When the load balancer treats the machine as healthy, same thing. The same thing here also we can keep. After 2 consecutive health check successes, after 2 consecutive health check failures, it is treating the machine as unhealthy. After 2 consecutive health check successes, it can declare the EC2 instance as healthy. After 2 consecutive health check success, it will declare the EC2 instance as healthy. Any questions here in understanding the health check settings? I'll repeat if you want, if you are not understanding what I'm trying to explain. Any questions, please? No questions? I'll take it as no questions. You understood, right? What is healthy threshold and unhealthy threshold also, right? So the next step is we are going to add the instances. We need to add both the instances we have created. I am adding HTTP server 1 and HTTP server 2 to this load balancer. I am attaching these 2 instances to the load balancer. Coming down, I am just going for creating a load balancer. I'm not doing anything. I'm just creating a load balancer. That's it. Once you create a load balancer, the name of the load balancer is my load balancer. Once you create a load balancer, you will get the name of the load balancer. You will get the DNS name of the load balancer like this. Can you see this is the DNS name of the load balancer? We can copy the DNS name of the load balancer. We can go to the browser. Now we can access our application with the help of the DNS name of the load balancer. Please wait. We need to wait for some time. Still, this DNS name of the load balancer is not attached to our servers. So usually what happens, we can access our application by using the DNS name of this. You got it right? So we have created a load balancer. Now we don't need to access our application with these IP addresses. Anyhow, my Google 1 is working. My Google 2 is also working. Fine. Now I would like to access this application with the help of the load balancer URL, DNS name of the load balancer. Each and every load balancer will be getting one DNS name. Whenever you create a load balancer, your load balancer will be assigned with some DNS name, and we access our application with the help of this DNS name. You got it? We are going to access our application with the help of this DNS name. Let's try to access our application with the help of DNS name. Any typo issues here? Yes. I'm able to access my application with the help of DNS name. I will share this DNS name with you people in the chat. Okay, I'm sharing this DNS name with you people in the chat. You can access our application now with the help of this DNS name. And one thing you must observe here, Whenever I keep on refreshing, you see, I'm refreshing this. Can you see here? The pages are changing. The pages are changing. Sometimes we are getting page one. Sometimes we are getting my Google 2. Sometimes we are getting, I'm just refreshing. I'm just keep on refreshing. When I refresh, it will go as a request. When I refresh, one more request. When I refresh, one request goes. When I refresh it, one more request is going. See, sometimes I'm getting my Google 1. Sometimes I'm getting my Google 2. My Google 1, my Google 2. See, whatever the responses I'm getting as my Google 1, it is from server 1. Whatever the responses I'm getting from my Google, whatever the responses I'm seeing as my Google 2, it is from server 2. So in server 1, I have installed this my Google 1 page. I'm getting my Google 2 from server 2. And when I keep on refreshing, the requests are reaching to the load balancer. My requests, whatever the requests I'm sending, my requests are sending, whatever the requests I'm giving here, continuously I'm giving the requests. I'm keep on refreshing. So my requests are being sent to the load balancer. Load balancer is diverting the traffic. Load balancer is diverting the traffic to the servers. Sometimes it is diverting the traffic to server 1. Sometimes it is diverting the traffic to server 2. Sometimes it is diverting the traffic to server 1. Sometimes I'm getting my Google 1. Sometimes I'm getting my Google 2. Any questions in understanding what is a load balancer? Any questions in understanding the practicals of what is a load balancer? How actually the requests are going to the load balancer? When I'm sending request from the browser, the request is directly reaching out to the load balancer. Now the load balancer is sending some request to the server 1 and load balancer is sending some of the request to the server 2. How we are able to identify it is sending the request to server 1. If I'm getting the response as my Google 1, I'm getting this response from server 1. When I refresh it, I'm getting the response from server 2. My Google 2 is from server 2. Hope you understood the concept of load balancer. Any questions here in understanding, please?
Yeah, hi Vamshi.
Yes, please.
Suppose if I want to access only the first server for 2 hours and the rest for second server, so is it possible to do that
You want to stop, so you want to access everything from the first server
for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, time specific?
for the specific time period, right?
Yes, yes.
So usually when you are configuring the load balancer, the main task of the load balancer is like it will accept the traffic and distributes the traffic to the servers. Okay. So uh, as per your request, like for the first 2 hours or 3 hours, if we want to get the traffic from only from one server, maybe that is not possible if if we are attaching the load balancer. What can we do is we can make the second server as idle. Okay, we can make the second server as ideal so that we can able to divert the load balancer will divert the traffic to the we can stop the second server so that all the requests will be moving to the first server only. Particularly, we cannot make the load balancer the request that getting to the load balancer goes to only server 1 or particularly server 2. Got it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes. If you have any questions, we'll discuss. So otherwise, we will continue. We'll also understand what are the different types of load balancer. Okay. Any questions you have, let's discuss. Otherwise, we'll close this for today. Thank you all. Let's meet tomorrow for the rest of the discussion. Thank you.